Hi there, welcome to my views and news. I could not make a video today. I was busy with some family engagements. I'm back home now. Two new stories for you. Firstly, Somalia being armed by Egypt. New weapons arrived at Mogadishu port last night. Port remained closed. Who is providing these new weapons to Somalia? Which types of weapons are being provided? Secondly, Egypt is warning its citizens against traveling to Somaliland. Egyptian citizens in Somaliland are being told to leave Somaliland. What happened? Let's start, viewers. Somalia is being armed by some countries. So, by the way, Somalia is a sovereign country. No one should object to Somalia buying weapons. I mean, Ethiopia has been buying weapons too. Ethiopia buys weapons, its military purchases weapons. Eritrea, every country does that. So, if Somalia is buying weapons, it shouldn't be a news. But who is providing these weapons? Are weapon providers just weapon providers, or do they have some interest? This is the question. Otherwise, every country buys weapons. Generally, weapon providers sell weapons. They make money. They don't generally. I mean, if uh, Russians sell weapons, they make money. If Turkey is selling drones, Turkey makes money. If US sells weapons, generally it makes money. So it's a business. But in some cases, weapons are provided to achieve some strategic objectives. So, what Somalia is receiving is definitely weapon shipment. But the provider has some regional interest, strategic interest. That is why neighboring countries are concerned. Neighboring countries cannot stop Somalia from buying weapons. Question is, who is providing these weapons? Is the provider interested in doing business or in creating problems for neighboring? Last night, an Egyptian ship docked at Mogadishu port in Somalia, and the port was closed for several hours. The port remained closed. Weapons were offloaded. And then weapons were seen, by the way, being transported from the port to different destinations. Egyptian ship was the ship reportedly which docked at Mogadishu port. So Egypt is providing weapons to Somalia. It's not a new development. Egypt already sent two C-130 planes, military cargo planes to Somalia. Several other planes arrived after that. Now a ship. Which types of weapons were on board? Uh, Artillery pieces have been seen leaving Mogadishu port. Small arms, ammunition packed in boxes. Some say missiles have also been delivered. No pictures. Artillery pieces seen. Some APCs were seen too last time. Uh, Ammunition, maybe missiles too, but we don't know. We don't have any evidence. Now, Egypt has decided that it wants to arm Somalia. 2 days ago, when Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdel met with US Special Envoy to the Horn of Africa, Mike Hammer and Molly Fee, Egyptian minister said that Egypt would help Somalia in building Somalia's military It would help Somalia in protecting Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity. It would help Somalia in the fight against terrorism and extremist forces. And Americans seem to be backing Egypt. They have not raised any questions about these weapons deliveries from Egypt to Somalia. Ethiopia issuing statements, but Ethiopia cannot stop. Ethiopia cannot take this case to an international forum because Somalia has every right to buy weapons. Problem is that Egypt has some regional interests. Egypt wants to force Ethiopia to come to the table to sign a legally binding agreement about the operations of the Dam, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. This is the issue for Ethiopia. Definitely alarm bells ringing, Egypt making new moves with every passing day to corner Ethiopia. Ethiopia trying to make counter moves. Ethiopia did make a counter move a few hours ago. I'll do a video on that in a coming hours. So far, Somalia is the beneficiary of Egyptian weapon shipments, which Somalia has received. Second, while Somalia is receiving weapons from Egypt, Somaliland is being armed, backed by Ethiopia. Ethiopia training Somaliland's police, Somaliland military. And we know that Somaliland has been condemning Egyptian military deployment, Egyptian military supplies to Somalia. And a few days ago, if you remember, Somaliland government ordered the closure of Egyptian library and cultural center in Hargeisa. And the government said back then that the two facilities were located in a very sensitive location, very close to the parliament and the presidential palace. And the officials working there, they were given 72 hours to leave Somaliland. Somaliland not happy with Egypt because Egypt is arming Somalia, and Somalia, in worst case scenario, could attack the Somaliland. That is why my land has been condemning Egyptian moves in Somalia. That is why it expelled Egyptian officials. That is why Egypt now has pass some instructions for its citizens. Egyptian citizens are being told that they should not travel to Somaliland because if they travel to Somaliland and if they face a problem, they might not receive any consular support. Secondly, the Egyptians already living in Somaliland are being told to leave Somaliland. Egyptians in trouble in Somalia. I don't think there is large Egyptian population in Somaliland, but Somalilanders now will face problems if they are in Egypt. Egyptian entry is creating regional shockwaves in the Horn of Africa. Thank you for watching.